Hi guys, I'm Noam from Compare Forex Brokers, and today, lucky enough to be touring the Blackbull offices in Auckland, New Zealand, and I'm joined with CEO of Blackbull, Michael Walker. Michael, thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, Norm. Good to have you here in Auckland, New Zealand.
Love the offices, beautiful.
Thank you.
Why don't you maybe tell our viewers a little bit about the Blackbull origin story and how it came about and how you set up shop in New Zealand?
Sure. So I'm actually originally from Auckland, New Zealand, as you can probably tell with the accent. Go All Blacks. Basically, I was trading about 10 years ago for a small family office.
Yep.
Now, we didn't have sort of the $100 million necessary to open a coverage account with Citibank, say, in the US, or a true prime. And so in order to sort of allow our strategies to work, I had to network within the industry itself.
Yep.
And by accident, essentially creating the broker structure that we required to operate as a trader and as a part of that family office. At that stage, I just figured, let's just take the perfect conditions or the conditions that were important to us. Again, this is back in 2013, 2014. As we know, broker conduct, well, it still is a long way to go today as a whole industry. It was terrible back then.
Yep.
And so it was really important for me as a trader to actually have that product, I guess, for traders, as opposed to just the retail-ish brokers at the time that didn't really cater to actual trading needs, didn't really understand sort of what traders cared about. When I'd gone live chat or speak to my account manager, you could tell they never really sort of understood what we were going through as a trader.
It was kind of like a disconnect between...
Big disconnect, and that's even if they're sort of actually in the office. And so that's something that's been really important from day one, and that's how we started, one of the main reasons why I set up Blackbull Markets, and I believe why we've done so well overall.
Okay, great. So what year did you start Blackbull?
2014.
Okay, so we started Compare Forex Brokers in the exact same year. So,
yep. Oh, awesome. Yeah, well done. Hold on, by the way.
We've both been in the industry. I mean, you've been trading, for longer than that, but we've both kind of been in the industry for about 10 years. And over the years, there has been a lot of changes, as you mentioned. Regulations gotten stricter as certain events have kind of unfolded around the world. Talk to me about kind of setting up in New Zealand, because obviously there are a lot of Forex brokers based out of Australia. There aren't too many Forex brokers based out of New Zealand.
No.
It is a good market. It is obviously like a pretty robust economy, and it's a Western country, and it's easy to do business here. But what are some of the challenges associated with kind of operating in New Zealand, and why do you think it's actually such a good hub that's allowed you guys to expand the way you've expanded over the years?
Well, I think that the reason there aren't many operators here, a lot of brokers from the industry have tried to get licensed in New Zealand, but the FMA is quite a strict regulator, like ASIC, to where they actually do expect a proper commitment onshore. Mm-hmm. And a lot of players that have come in have sort of not treated it as such. And so there's only around 20 derivative issuer licenses in the whole country. And that includes banks like, say, Goldman Sachs, BNP Paribas, ANZ, who aren't traditionally just only in this industry. Mm-hmm. So what that means, though, is a lot of the specific skill sets that we require are actually overseas. We've had to sort of foster and develop those domestically, and then really attract good people who believe in our vision to move from Australia, to move from the UK, of which we have many, to sort of support that industry here in Auckland. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's a big financial services scene here, but derivatives in particular, that has been, one of the challenges we've overcome is getting really good people from the industry to relocate here.
Okay. You obviously haven't had too many issues doing that, knowing some of your colleagues who've relocated here, but why do you think you guys have been able to use New Zealand as like a solid base to expand?
I think when you look at what traders really, really care about, and what was important to me as a trader as well, is the FMA and the audit criteria here, are equivalent to ASIC and the FCA. I mean, now they've just passed legislation to where the same audit qualifications in New Zealand, Australia, and the UK are all accepted in all those jurisdictions.
Yep.
So I think following on from there, we hold our client funds on trust with ANZ Bank, which not only domestically in New Zealand and Australia and say Singapore, globally is a AA rated bank, top 50 banks in the world.
Yep.
That's sort of been quite a key piece as well. And then with the time zones, I mean, we're here first to market in New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite exciting when we can get really ahead of what happens in the markets before a lot of the rest of the world wakes up.
Yeah.
And then finally, our business culture in New Zealand is very inclusive of the team. It's very people orientated. We tend to have flatter hierarchies, or we listen to good advice from, whichever department it comes from.
Yeah.
And, every staff member essentially in Blackbull Markets is either a shareholder or about to be a shareholder. So we kind of really care more than maybe the traditional industry as a whole.
Sure. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. You spoke a moment ago about the FMA and why the FMA are an equivalent tier 1 regulator of, say, the FCA in the UK or ASIC in Australia. One thing that I know that FMA kind of came out and mentioned a little while ago was that they weren't inclined to look at things like leverage caps, like a lot of the other regulators have around the world. They kind of adopted a bit of a wait and see approach. Do you want to maybe talk about that a little bit and, where you see kind of the FMA going there? Because it has been an innovative approach and it has been one that has been met with like a lot of support from the industry.
Yeah, I think that following on from how business culture works in New Zealand, and the FMA does try and foster a collaborative sort of communication with the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
It's one of the mantras, and Samantha, who runs the FMA, she's come from the FCA in the UK, and I think, if I had to guess, it would be that they've seen what's happened overseas in other, Tier 1 regulations, and the adverse effect of changing leverage tends to push clients away to riskier offshore jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the wait and see has been quite a smart play. I know that they are, open to and looking at consultation within the industry to evaluate that.
Yeah.
But they seem very receptive to actually really understanding, the whole philosophy is to protect, New Zealand retail investors, and the best way to do that might not necessarily be with the leverage changes.
Okay, great. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about your growth ambitions and your plans for the short term?
Sure.
You guys have, grown considerably over the last few years. We've obviously charted your rise at Compare4X Brokers. Obviously, we've been working together for a few years now. Long may that continue.
Yep.
But what are your kind of growth ambitions and plans for the short term?
So I think even in the short term, the vision, my dream is really not just to be a FX derivatives broker, it's to be a true multi-asset. That's why we have 26,000 products globally. We have a core stock offering as well. So I think short term is continuing to expand on that product and service list. We want to be a titan in the financial services space, not just the FX derivative space, and that's something that I think we're already doing quite a good job in.
Mm-hmm.
And then just continue to do what we do well in, which is just delivering for our traders. Backing them with the technology behind the scenes that actually facilitates things like fast execution. We are more of the same things along those lines. We're not here for hockey stick growth. We've always been slow, steady, legitimate growth, and we've done very well there. And I mean, we're looking at a lot of the industry are sort of in consolidation at the moment. A lot of brokers, some even needing to recapitalize, and we're still slow, steady growing, which is fantastic to see.
Okay, great. Slow and steady wins the race.
Yes.
You touched on execution speeds. Earlier in the year, at Compare4X Brokers, we did a whole analysis on a few things, but one of them was execution speeds.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm pleased to say that the Blackbull won that, and you guys do endorse that and advertise that on your homepage now, which is great for everyone to see. You did win that test, beating a lot of, I'd say, larger incumbents in the market. Do you want to maybe talk to me a little bit about your investment in infrastructure and how you kind of came to win that award?
Sure. And I mean, look, when I was trading at the family office, execution speed was a real bugbear for me. It really affected my strategy in terms of how, especially during news, how my trades were getting filled. Mm-hmm. So it's something really important to me personally and the wider company. We've spent considerable amounts of money on our infrastructure behind the scenes to enable those fast execution speeds. We are very selective on the true prime brokers that we work with to make sure that they pass those execution speeds on to our clients as well through us. And as well as the fact of, really filtering out not only by spread, but by execution speed when we actually do price things. Quite often you can have a really sharp spread, but terrible execution, which ends up costing the client more. and we sort of don't really entertain that at Blackbull.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you so much. That was, really enlightening, and it's nice to hear firsthand what a lot of the kind of innovators in the industry are doing. Thank you so much for hosting me the last couple of days. Guys, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, if there's any other content you'd like us to shoot, please let us know in the comment section down below.
Thank you very much.